School Building Committee to order. We're at the Nashua High School North Lecture Hall. It's Thursday, January 26, 2023, and it's 7 p.m. Would the clerk please call the roll?
That's me. I thought we changed roles today, but apparently not in this committee. Alderman Dowd.
Present.
Alderwoman Wilshire. Here. Alderwoman Clee.
Here.
Alderwoman Timmons.
Here.
Alderman Sullivan.
Here.
Miss Raymond.
Here.
Miss Lampier.
Here.
Miss Bishop is here. Miss Gilio.
Here.
Mr. Claffey.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Full house. All right. If the clerk would read the prayer, and would Alderman Timmons lead us in the pledge?
Almighty God, we have the high honor and serious duty to manage the educational affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all of our fellow citizens. So help us God. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. If there's no objections, I'll waive the reading of the minutes of the December 15th, 2022 Joint Special School Building Committee and place them on file. Remarks by Chairman. Thank you, everybody, for this. We thought we were having a quorum issue. We have a full attendance, which has been one of those days we're trying to get quorums for different meetings. Okay. Remarks by school administration. John, or?
Apparently not.
No.
Mr. Pasca. Remarks?
No.
You don't know he's school administration. Okay. Sean, did you have anything?
I would just note that, but it doesn't really matter because the fourth Thursday of February is still 1 week before the next vacation break, so we're good.
Okay. Items for discussion and approval. We'll start with the architect's report from Jamie from Harriman.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I'll do a recap of the projects that are ongoing in design and construction. First off, we'll start with the Brian McCarthy Middle School. I'm continuing to review submittals and questions from the field. I'm doing bi-weekly visits to the site and reviewing progress out there and coordinating any questions that arise as we're out there. Progress is going quite well. I was excited to see paint going on. I think Ken might have some of that tonight, but there was paint going on in the inside of the lower level, so that was great. I mean, it's really starting to shape up quickly. Not to say that it's going to be done very quick. I mean, there's still some time going, but it's a big building, so. There is a few design items that are ongoing. One is just the construction coordination items as we come into things that need a little extra design coordination. We're doing that and working with Harvey on those. And then just today, I was working on setting up an initial, like a furniture kickoff meeting with school administration and the Elm Street principal. So we're shooting to do that in the next 2-3 weeks, have that initial kind of kickoff and start planning what the furniture packages will look like for this new middle school. I think previously we talked about my visits to Elm Street and walkthrough of the existing furniture and finding some of the original 1930s furniture there. So hoping that we can do some good replacements over there at the new school. The Pennachuck Middle School. Good news over there. I'm sure Harvey will share, but they did receive a certificate of occupancy or temp CO for the library area, and I understand from today's construction meeting that they are starting to move some books and such into that learning commons. So very exciting news over there. So I think that basically opens up almost all of the school. The last remaining area is the old Learning Commons area, that center core area. That's still ongoing, but if that's about a couple weeks out to being ready to go, I'd be surprised. Again, Harvey, I'm sure, will speak on that a little further. So progress is going well, and it's looking really nice. Birch Hill, Maine Dunstable Elementary Schools. Those are ongoing in design. We had issued a progress review set I think it was early last week, I believe it was. And that's kind of like the last review set before we issue construction documents at the beginning of February. So a few weeks away, those construction documents will be in Harvey's court to start doing the official pricing and whatnot for that project. So moving right along over there, the design. We have had a couple of follow-up meetings one was with school administration as well as the principals and facilities to kind of talk about, where the project has landed from, way back, and kind of describe where things are at. We had talked about in that meeting, we talked about planning for a kind of a follow-up principal meeting once Harvey has a chance to review the final phasing for construction, getting the principals up to speed with that, and then having a follow-up meeting with staff to bring them up to speed with what the project officially looks like and how they're going to be affected, and then having possibly a follow-up meeting with like an evening meeting for parents to inform parents what the school will look like, and what some of the project scope looks like, and how the safety of their children are going to be accounted for. So that's all in planning stages. We're not officially there. We're gonna really plan those once Harvey has a chance to review that phasing, because we want to make sure that we're as close to what the actual schedule will be, and we want to know that first. So there's a little time there, but those are initial discussions that we've had with school admin. So, and then we had my time's slipping here. I think it was Monday. We had a meeting with the city code enforcement, fire marshal, planning. Alderman Dowd was there, Mr. Smith, Mr. Connors from facilities, and just talked with them, and Harvey and myself. We talked about the project, let them know what was happening, approximate phasing, what the temporary classroom setups are going to look like so that the phasing will work, and just to give them, keep them up to speed. We did a similar thing through the middle school projects, and it's well received. They feel like they're part of the project. Clearly they are, but feel like they are ahead of the project and know what's going to happen so they can be prepared and think about it. So we've had that meeting. That meeting was Monday and went really well. It was actually pretty concise and brief. I think they knew what the scope was and ready to go. So that's ongoing. From Birch Hill and Maine D. I should say Maine Dunstable. I refer to a Maine D in the office, but 55 Franklin Street. That school continues. I think the construction progress is a little bit slower right now where school's in session, but we have got an opportunity to get in there. Harriman has gone in and done some punch lists of some different areas and different sections of the building. As the work kind of slows up and was kind of near completion in some of those areas that are open. So we've done that. And I think the other element that at 55 Franklin Street that's I'm going to kind of show tonight, I think Mr. Smith had sent these out earlier this week, but we have a few proposals from some changes that are being requested for the project. And so I'd like to go over those individually tonight, each one of them, kind of talk about what those scopes are so you can get a better understanding perhaps, and then maybe see if they could get approved if you want to proceed with them. If you don't, then we could talk about that as well. So the first, and if anybody doesn't have those, I have a couple copies here that I can share. but I'll go one at a time here. So the first proposal that is being presented is for an elevator, we call it the modernization design. So I think previously there was a proposal from Stanley to do some elevator modernization to the project. And they are coming in to make the elevator more, current. It's the original elevator that was probably built in that building back when the building was built, with very limited upgrades over time, I expect. They have identified, so they'll be doing most of the work as it relates directly to the elevator modernization, but there are elements that are required to bring some of the stuff that's up to code to meet what they need, but also just like electrical changes, and the elevator pit needs a pump in it, and some of these like minor in changes, designs type pieces. So there's architectural work that's related. There's some plumbing work that's related. A lot of electrical work. A little bit of sprinkler work is required to bring it up to code. And some fire alarm devices are needed. And so Harriman's proposal is to do the design work for the infrastructure that's needed so that the Stanley elevator can come in and do their work to modernize the elevator. The proposal that was submitted is for $7,800, and we can start in approximately 2 weeks with the intent that this work will be built in the summer. Whatever questions from that?
Any questions for the architect? Yes, Mr. Raymond?
Thank you. Regarding this, is the elevator currently functioning and safe for the students and staff to use between now and when it's updated?
I understand it's functioning. I expect it's safe and being used, but I can't say that, yes, it's, in fact safe and something happens to it, but I understand that it is, right? Like, we don't
have any, like-
Stanley has been in there to look at it and
Okay.
review it, it's been inspected. So I think the answer to that is yes. This
Okay.
is to modernize it. Some of the modernizations, as an example, are putting in operations for ADA accessibility. The buttons need to be changed out. Some of the controllers are controllers from back, 70s, I believe, and so changing some of those controllers and things like that. I do have somewhere in this pile, I have the elevator proposal, but this is to do the infrastructure for that. So I think, Ms. Raymond, the answer is yes, but it has been inspected, so.
Okay.
There are three things. One, they're using the elevator, have been using the elevator. And if it weren't safe, EEI and Harvey wouldn't be using it, but
Right.
it's okay. It's fine. The first part of the proposal is to bring it up to speed with ADA and other things so that it will last longer. And then the third part is, I think there's a separate proposal to make it look prettier.
Okay. Well, I certainly feel that we absolutely need to bring it up to ADA compliance. I don't think we have an option on that, so thank you.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have an option on that. Yes, Alderman Sullivan?
Thank you very much. Are these three proposals that we have here, were these planned or were these unanticipated as you got into the project?
These are unexpected design adds. So we weren't sure that the elevator was going to be modernized. There was a proposal submitted, I believe it was in October, from Stanley to do that modernization. And so Stanley is actually the one that came back as an example to say, hey, we need these elements in order for this to support our work that's ongoing. So that was not anticipated. The other two, as we get there, I'll explain that when I talk about the answer to that would be no. Those weren't anticipated early on in our original proposal, for sure. No.
Got it. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Ms. Lampier?
I was just wondering if we have any idea how much the Stanley portion of this would cost.
That I can have a.
I could speak to that, if that's
Thank you.
okay. In summary, we had included in the original budget for Franklin Street a $100,000 allowance to do the elevator upgrades. you may remember when we had Stanley come in, they came back with a very large proposal. We sat and reviewed it with them in detail, decided we didn't need to do any pre-cab upgrades to make it look nicer, but rather the controls and the, upgrades that Jamie's talking about were totaling $150,000 roughly. So what we did, we spent the allowance, but we took from the escalation fund. So I did a $0 PCO that we had approved to move the escalation funds and use it for the elevator. So we have construction funds to the tune of about $50,000 available to make the upgrade changes that we need to have designed. So I think adding a door, maybe an electrical panel, and the other things that Jamie mentioned.
So we
we have some
anticipate the
construction funds.
ad is going to be for our services to do the design, but Harvey has money aside to do some work that they pulled out of escalation or have some allowances for that money. So
Thanks.
Any other questions? Just a couple things. One, at Franklin Street, I think we're getting close, and we are being very, very careful in reviewing any future PCOs. Cost. We manage the funds we have, and we have to make sure we stay within budget, so any additional PCOs will be fully scrutinized by Sean and myself before we bring them back here. The other thing is that Birch Hill, Maine, Dunstable, we've defined the scope of that work with the amount of bond money we have and the ESSER funds that we have, and future PCOs at that school will be as required. Niceties, we'll have to get closer to the end of the project to see how our funds are, but we can't overrun the funding. Get in a second. And the other thing I wanted to mention was on that meeting, Sam from the new planning manager was there on the meeting. And I think the Board of Ed's already aware that we're moving the portables from Elm Street to Birch Hill and Maine Dunstable. That's going to happen. They're looking at them now to see just how they're going to move them. But there'll be 2 at Birch Hill, 2 at Maine Dunstable. They've already identified where they're going and what the hookups will be, because they will be in use for 2 years.
yes.
At least, probably. Yes, Mrs. Julie.
I just have a question. How soon are those going to be moved? Because they are being used at Elm Street now.
Right now, they're covered with snow, so.
Well, no,
The day of the snowstorm, they were supposed to go down and check them out, but obviously they didn't do that during the storm. But I think you want to address when you're going to move them?
It'll either be right away, right as school gets out, if we can't get them any earlier.
So in June?
If not earlier. Yeah, I mean, ideally, we'd like to prepare some spaces closer to after April vacation, but I don't know if that's feasible for
Yeah, I think
that to happen.
they're planning right now to try to get the students adjusted in Elm Street School prior to the April break, as I understand. Again, but I think what the true plan is that Harvey's going to proposally do some setting up on the Birch Hill Main D site for foundations so that those portables can be moved, whether it's April, May, or June. That's still being in the planning stage.
So
So-
we bought the foundations for the portables at Fairgrounds Middle School, and those are still available. We put them down at the landfill to store them, and they will be used to anchor these portables at the new sites. So all the site work, this has site work that has to be done, putting in the piping, putting in the landscaping so that ADA available, especially at Birch Hill, which is built on a hill.
I just have a question because I know at least one person who teaches in the portables at Elm Street, and I'm wondering if the others are vacant right now or are they being used? And then where will we be moving the students who are going back into the main building?
Board Ed question.
That sounds like a Mr. Posca and Ms. Charette, the principal over at Elm Street question. I know that a health class got moved out of the portables and into another space because my own child was upset about not being able to walk outside to go to the portables to do it, but that's the only one I'm aware of.
Thank you.
I think Mario's got a whole plan on the portables, so
Thank you.
we sort of shifted that to him, because affecting students, it's up to the administration and the Board of Ed. Alderman Clee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just looking at the scope of work that I had looked at relative to the elevators, it sounds like the work has to get done, but I just want to make sure that I did understand. You said the financing or the monies are in place to do the work. This proposal is just to get the plans for the work, correct? That's what you said?
Yeah, Harvey has an allowance. I want to be clear that they have an allowance of a certain amount to do the work. If the work comes over that allowance, they may have to review that. But the answer to your question is yes, this is for the design services, and Harvey does have an allowance to cover what they expect the added work is going to end up being.
So when we add PCOs, that still has to fall within the bonded money for the school or ESSER funds. The only time it's a bigger concern, which I'm sure Alderman Clee would instantly pick up on, is if we had to add to the bond money. That's not the case in any of our projects at the moment. Just the one clarification, though, we still have in the bond plan at City Hall $10 million for the McCarthy School. The reason we haven't gone to forward with it is that we're waiting to see how much we have left from Fairgrounds in Maine Dunstable, but with what's going on in Ukraine and the pandemic and everything, and cost escalation because of inflation, that number that's in the bond plan may not change, and it may probably be brought up in February. I think most of the board aldermen already know about it. So.
Just quickly. Again, as I said, when I was looking at the scope of work, it seems like there are some hazards that are there, but they're not affecting, I mean, even when it talks about things like the, what am I looking at here? Okay, the required grate flush because of the sump pump and to avoid tripping hazards. Is that for people that work on the elevator? It's not the ones that are riding it?
Yes,
right?
the sump is under, it's
Right.
down in the pit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure, because when I was reading, it was like, why do we have students buy the sump pump? So, yes, okay, thank you so much.
Hopefully they're not down in the sump pump, but we got school problems.
I appreciate that.
So,
Thank you very
okay.
much.
And I think that's all I had. Is any other questions from the architect? And now we'll get full details on what's going on from Ken, from Harvey.
Alderman,
You're not done?
I have two more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you want to make a recommendation or motion on this, or do you want to do them all at once?
I think we want to do them. Are these PCOs or?
This is a proposal for design services.
So we need a motion from this committee to approve the proposal so they can move forward with the
Oh,
design.
just the, okay. You want to? All right, we explain them
And then do the, okay.
the letters for an award. I should have a copy of them. All right.
There's three of them here.
There's three. I'm sorry, what page does the second one start on? Page.
All right, which one do you want to start off with?
So I was explaining the elevator first. That one, that service, the fee proposed there is $7,800 for that work.
Oh, I don't think that they're in our same order in our packet. The elevator one was the second one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't.
That's okay. I just,
The kitchen, so I can go to that one next. All right, so the second design that we were asked to look at providing a proposal for is for the kitchen design. This proposal includes architectural, structural, plumbing, sprinkler, and mechanical and electrical design to provide a kitchen for it's a smaller kitchen up on the third floor, proposed kitchen on the third floor. It currently is the pantry space of that room. Kittredge is a kitchen supply vendor. They've done an initial layout with the school district on what that may look like. They've also done a proposed hood equipment proposal for their pieces. And so this proposal is to provide design services to create a proposal request to have the actual kitchen built from our design documents. So we're going to create documents that can be built from. We also would meet with the health department and review plans with them to make sure that those are reviewed prior to the construction starting. And then also as construction goes, they come in and they do their inspections. And then also doing some code research to make sure that the kitchen layout and construction fits the space. So the fee proposed for that scope is $32,000 and a $500 reimbursable. So if that gets used for travel, postage, printing, then that would be used up, or it gets reimbursed, basically not invoiced if it doesn't get used. So total proposal is $32,500.
And just, I think the Board of Ed knows this, that we, by the way, these three things have been decided. We have the funds in the contract to cover these. But the kitchen, all of the kitchen material going in there, all the equipment, is all being paid for under food service, not out of this project. All we're doing is designing where the things go and what they have to have a code kitchen.
Yeah, the infrastructure behind the kitchen is what we'd be designing.
Yes, Raymond?
Where is the breakfast and lunches being transported from now? Do you know which school is supplying them? Which kitchen?
South High School is providing it for Brentwood.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other questions on the kitchen? Okay.
All right, and the final Harriman proposal here is for a limited structural investigation. Facilities had been doing some looking up, and so after some of the ceilings were removed, and saw that there was some spalling concrete happening on the first floor, which is you'd be in the basement looking up. In the vestibule area, there's some concrete spalling from above. We were sent some images to ask if we would come and do an investigation. So the scope of work here is for a structural engineer to perform a site visit, review those findings, and make recommendations for repair, and then develop sketches that could be for basically repair instructions and be built from, and then also provide a summary report presenting the results of the limited structural investigation. The fee for that work is proposed to be $6,800. And they can start that within a couple weeks of acceptance. And the first question I'm sure we'll get is, the space safe? It does not appear to be anything in jeopardy based on, we haven't done our official investigation of the space, but it does not appear to be anything that's been detrimental to the space as of right now. So.
Something that we feel needs to be checked, though.
Is that what those photographs are at the end? There's like, yeah.
So, we'll take these one at a time for approval. We only had three.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, so we'll start with the limited structural investigation. I would need a motion to authorize us to provide this work to Harriman Associates in the amount of $6,800.
So moved.
By Mrs. Raymond, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Approved. Okay. And we'll take the next one is I'll need a motion to approve an award to Harriman for renovation kitchen design in the amount of $32,500. So moved by Alderman Timmons. Any discussion?
Please.
Yes.
You had mentioned that the monies, so this 32,000 comes out of this budget. The money to do the work and then the equipment comes out of the food service budget?
Nothing to do with this project. School department pays, food service pays for all the equipment,
Even the construction work or just the equipment?
not just the equipment.
Okay, so the construction work will come,
Is there a separate, Sean?
The Board of Ed approved in its annual look at capital projects, deferred maintenance money to take care of the actual construction. So we've put aside $150,000 for the kitchen work that Jamie comes up with.
okay. So we're just paying for the design work?
Yes.
All right, thanks.
It's either that or the back of an envelope somewhere, but getting that through our health department would not be good. Trust me. All right, any other discussion on the kitchen? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And the third one is need a motion to award the services for the renovations to the elevator modernization design to Harriman.
So moved. Oh,
Get the amount yet.
I remember it.
$2,400,000 in the amount of $7,800.
So moved.
All right. The motion's been made. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else, Jamie?
No, thank you.
Anything else, Sean?
No, we're good.
No, so Sean and I had already looked at these three, and we've had several discussions on any potential outstanding PCOs, and we determined that in working with Harvey, that the money's available to do these three things. Okay. So, Ken.
Thank you. So Ken Lemarier, project manager with Harvey. Myself and Kathy Miska will give updates on the McCarthy Middle School, Pennachuck, and then Kathy will jump in and give a quick update on 55 Franklin. So we'll jump right into the McCarthy Middle School here. So if any of you have been by the site recently, you'll notice the old job site sign says new Nashua Middle School. So I've been working with Alderman Dowd, and this is the new project sign that will be temporarily up during construction. So hopefully that'll be in place next week or the week after. It's got the new logo and the new school colors on it. So a little more window dressing for everybody passing by the job site.
At the end of D'Antonio Drive, which you won't find on a map yet because we just built it.
Okay, so that spot, that's the,
It's off Buck Meadow.
okay, the design that's there now is coming down and this one is
Yep.
gonna replace that one, okay.
Right. So starting for all the site work and the utility development, all of the base paving and parking areas have been developed and base pave complete. Right now, we're working on plucking away at the athletic fields, so that's all temperature pending. We can still work during snowstorms and rain, but really, we have to kind of stay away from it if the frost gets too deep, but we've been very lucky thus far this winter, so we'll just continue to work away. Anything that we can get done this winter will help us in the spring to establish the growing period for the grass for the athletic field. So we are going to be adding, we've been working with Jamie's team in Harriman to add additional drainage beneath the athletic fields at the both baseball fields and around the track. And we do have permanent power to the building for construction. So we've got Eversource and the new poles run up to the site. Again, just a reminder, the building sequence is always building C, B, D, and then A. So every C is always going to be ahead of these two buildings here. So basically, in that order, we start from the ground level up, and then each floor is about 1 month behind the previous floor. So most of the photos you'll see tonight will be of the lower level area C right here. So that's, Jamie mentioned earlier, the painting and some of the finishes, and we've got cabinets already coming in. So, you know, it's funny, we've got cabinets going in one building, and then we've got bare steel in the other building. So it's kind of a, you can get to see a little bit of everything if you come to the site. So building C, all the exterior framing and sheathing and the air vapor barrier is complete. All of the operable windows have been installed. So now that that's complete, we can start to install the tactile panels, which is, if you've been to Pennachuck Middle School, those are kind of like the concrete looking facade rain screen that you'll see. So those are going to be start to be installed in March, but before those can be installed, we have to install the kind of the framing that they attach to. Moving inside of Area C, you'll see the progress that's taken place. The mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection rough-in is ongoing. All the framing and drywall and painting on the, for the first prime and first coat has been complete on the first floor, and the overhead MEP is in progress right now. So again, like I said, we've got cabinets going in shortly on one floor, and then we have bare steel in Area A. So you'll be able to see the different stages of each level. So Building B, again, but behind on Building C. Exterior framing and sheathing and air vapor barriers in progress. We're targeting to have that complete in the next month or so. And then the interior framing is also in progress in Building B. Building D, all the spray fireproofing will be complete tomorrow. And then the exterior framing is also in place. Building A, we're basically weather pending on the rest of the slabs on grade. That's a weather pending type of activity. It hasn't really been cooperative the last few weeks, so that's just something that we will continue to pluck away at when the weather permits. And Building A, exterior framing, sheathing, and roofing is in progress. Again, that's kind of a weather pending type of activity. I'll jump into some photos here. So the upper left, is Building A. You can see this is the exposed steel. This is kind of the new main entrance of the building. So again, you can see we've got our concrete blankets down here because the slabs aren't placed, so we have to keep those areas free of frost. And then you can see Building C. I think this photo is about 3 weeks old. So all this silver stuff is the air vapor barrier that goes on before the windows are installed. And then Building B, you can see the exterior sheathing and the framing in progress. And then here's a kind of a good view of Building C connecting to Building B. So this is Building C, Building B. Moving inside, you can see the prime coat of paint going in one of the corridors. So this is the lower level B. This is the most furthest along in construction. So you can see we've got a lot of the framing is complete. All the drywall has been installed. So again, a couple of weeks old. This is a mechanical room with the acoustical panels. In every mechanical room, we have the acoustical panels that go in to the room before any of the equipment is installed, which allows to hold in the acoustics so the adjacent classrooms don't hear any of the equipment running. And we do have a majority of the stairs and the main stairwells installed as well. So again, you can see a lot of progress going on. Building B, the spray fireproofing has been completed, so the framing is ongoing. So again, a lot of the photos are going to look the same going forward. You'll just see the progress as we move upwards in each of the buildings.
Ken, just for information, how many people do you have working on site any one day?
Probably over 100 people on site a day. Any questions on McCarthy before I move towards Pennachuck?
Getting there.
Busy. A lot of our guys are doing a great job out there.
And you want to mention that the trailer is moved from Medallion over to?
Yes, so the job site trailer used to be over here, and now it's, you come up, this is the new D'Antonio Drive. The job trailer is located right up here. Okay, moving over to Pennachuck Middle School. So Jamie had kind of mentioned some milestone progress that we've made over at Pennachuck. So we did receive the temp certificate of occupancy, which allows the school to move into the space. We had a job site meeting there today, and I believe they're planning on opening up the new library sometime next week. So they've got, this was a photo taken before any of the new furniture was installed. So I know that Mr. Smith's team's been working hard trying to get all of the books moved over and all the new furniture set up. So it's a really nice space in there.
Yeah, all the furniture that goes in the center of the room, including shelves and tables and all that, are now there.
A couple of just general items we're going to be, now that we're nearing the end of the project, we are going to be starting the general HVAC commissioning of the project, which kind of shakes out any loose ends. We bring in a third-party inspector to review the existing equipment and the new equipment to make sure that it's running per the Harriman specifications and running efficiently. So we work with the third party and our subcontractors to make sure that we're turning over a final good product to the city. So we'll be starting that process next week and working through those items as we demobilize on site. We do have a number of additional items that we're going to be both in-scope items and out-of-scope items that we're going to be addressing in the springtime. Just some things are just weather permitting again. So we've got the existing roof. Again, we're fighting the weather, so we've got a couple of minor items that we're wrapping up. The perimeter edge metal, the new electronic site sign that will be going at the front of the school. I received word today that it's coming next week, so we'll get that installed. So that's the electronic sign where the school can have the graphics and the announcements for the students and the patrons walking onto the site. We have miscellaneous landscaping that we've got to address. You know, any plantings or trees that didn't make it through the winter, we'll make sure that those get replaced. And miscellaneous punch list items. I was walking the site with Alderman Dowd and Mr. Smith today. There are a few things that we're going to address, you know, with our project savings moving forward. So there are a few other things that we're going to be taking care of. So although the project overall is complete, Harvey will still have a presence there. So. Moving into the last area of the project that we're going to be wrapping up is the computer ELL area, and that was the old library in the Pennachuck. So we're essentially complete in there. The flooring has been installed. Next week we're going to be starting up all the mechanical equipment and then going for our final inspections as well. So hoping to get our occupancy for that space as well, so we can turn that over in February to the school. So I'll jump forward to some photos here. So this is the newly renovated ELL computer area. Since I took these photos, the flooring has been installed. So this is a teacher's workroom, collaboration space. I know we spoke with the principal Fazzarano. We might be making some changes to the collaboration space. We're working with Harriman and Mr. Smith to address those concerns as well. So.
A bit of control of middle school.
Right. Here's some additional photos of the Learning Commons area. So I think there's 2 small group rooms and then a large group room where you can have various activities. I think that's over here. So it's a nice open space in here. And that's inside of that room. So you can see it's quite a good space to hold certain events and gatherings. Any questions on Pennachuck before we move to Franklin Street?
Getting there. Yes.
I wasn't sure, I missed the tour that was organized before. Will there be another tour of Pennachuck when everything is done for us?
We can certainly arrange that, yes.
Do we need to set a date? My wife's very busy, and that's all she's been talking about. Because we live up the street. When are you going to get me in there? I got to see this place.
John, you want to work with Gabe?
This might be a good time to say, because we just heard it ourselves. Gabe has identified March 9th as the rededication day. So I'm not sure what he has in mind yet, but typically we have the school chorus does something, and
All your names appear on the wall.
then we have a plaque that
Oh, wow.
Harvey's working on. We have tea and crumpets, that sort of thing.
Okay, Franklin Street, not nearly as exciting.
Or it's expensive.
True. On the outside, since the last time we were here, it seems like a long ago, the exterior handrails finally did get put in. So that's all been reworked since we began on site there a while back in the fall. So we just included that one. There's no other exterior work that's really taking place there at this point. So interior-wise, we are working on the basement level. We've phased. So if you remember, we finished the second floor for the start of school this year. Now we have moved into the basement. And then as we wrap that up, our next move is to take over the first floor and start renovating that and doing abatement of the first floor over February vacation. So these are pictures of the interior progress in the basement. Obviously new bathrooms, toilet partitions, et cetera. We have the new flooring is down, but we've put and left our floor protection there so that when the furniture gets moved from other floors of the building, we're not damaging the new floors. The upper right-hand picture is some new sewage ejector pumps. There is a pump room in the basement that gets a new door on it that you'll see when we get to the PCOs in order to allow all the equipment to fit. But the basement looks obviously painted. As Harriman mentioned, we've had punch list take place this week. We've had inspections with the building department. The trades have done had their sign-offs received from the building department, and this morning there was a fire alarm test, and that all went well, so we're looking good. So our next move, as I say, we're getting the TCO that includes the basement level so that the staff can move down to the basement, occupy the areas they're going to occupy, use some for storage. Meanwhile, we're going to hop up to the first floor, and what you'll be seeing next month is us preparing to do the abatement on that level during the school vacation week, and then hit it hard and try to get it done for April break so that we can then switch up to the third floor. So we have a complex plan in motion for the next 7 months to try to get it done. And we're ticking away at it.
So, yeah, the schedule is very tight, so most of the PCOs you're going to, in fact, all of them, you're going to see tonight have already been signed by me, because when these things come up, we're fighting a tight schedule. There are certain times that we can do certain things because we can't be working around any of the students directly. So we're trying to get all of this in line to finish up next summer. So, yes, Ms. Lapierre?
I just wanted to ask for clarification on the scheduling. So you're going to move the staff into the basement and then start working on the first floor just to finish that up. And when are you going to do that?
So the first floor work will take place between now or next week and April vacation, so that when we return April vacation, we can be abating the third floor, and then we hop up there to do work. So currently on the first floor is the Brentwood principal and the nurse, and they're going to be shifting and relocating. Furniture will be moving, and the preschool group will be able to use a couple of the new rooms in the basement at the same time. So they're kind of moving down into this finished basement level. The first floor will be vacant, so we can do our work, including the abatement. There's a few new wall partitions, new flooring, the regular kind of finishes, because EEI has already done all the mechanical upgrades on that floor. So we should be able to take the 6 to 8 weeks there between the vacations to dress it up with the finishes that we're doing, I guess, and then move up to the third floor. The third floor is where, if you remember, we have that extensive abatement because of the drywall that has the compound in it, and that it has the asbestos-containing material, so it takes longer to abate that. So if we can start at April vacation and do some abatement then, and then continue to work on those rooms that we've been able to abate earlier, that just helps us guarantee we can be done for the school year.
Okay, thanks.
That was a long answer. Sorry.
Board of Ed, I'm sure, is fully aware, it won't be totally populated with the preschoolers from the other schools until next September, in which case the school will be done, and there'll be a lot more students in it. And are there any questions before I go to EEI? No? You're up.
Hello, Matt Smith with EEI. Franklin Street is coming towards the end for us. We've got our final inspections on the lower level for mechanical and electrical. We are getting into some punch list items, as you heard. Harriman was out and walked through, so we got a couple items on that, and we'll get into the commissioning of it and making sure that all the systems are working as they were designed. And then we'll do some customer training on how to use and maintain the existing or the new equipment. And then we're going to be pulling off. We've already started pulling most of our stock and materials and leftover things out this week. So we're going to disappear until springtime, and then we'll roll into doing the window part of our scope. So that's about it. It's really wrapping up for us. So we're going to be kind of disappearing for a little bit until spring.
Do you have anything left on the roof?
No, the equipment for the dehumidification and cooling hasn't been started up yet, but all the equipment's up there and waiting and ready. So April break, we'll have them come back and get that started up. So as we get into the warmer months, they can have their cooling as expected. Yeah, but everything's up there and waiting, so.
Any questions for EEI?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Ken? Or
Yes, yep, thank you. Okay, so it's been a while since we talked about fairgrounds. So this is the last and final item for fairgrounds. So this is a prime contract change order number 8, and this is for contract reconciliation where we return any project savings back to the school district to officially close out the project. So sometimes we'll, and probably with McCarthy, periodically, if things are looking good financially, then we'll return funds back, usually maybe at the halfway point or the 75% waypoint. But in the case of fairgrounds, there were various upgrades that were required to be done, so we utilized buyout savings and project budget to take care of those items for the district. So this prime contract change order number 8 is giving a project savings back to the district for $123,902.64.
just a couple clarification things. There's a lot more money left. It's in other accounts. This is Harvey's money they're giving back on this, and it stays within the middle school project because it's part of the bonded funds for all 3 schools. So it's not going anywhere other than the rest of the project.
Would you mind saying the amount again?
Sure, it's a credit savings back for $123,902.64.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll need a motion to approve PCCO number 8.
Oh, I'll make that motion.
Again, for a saving of $2,407,000. So the amount is $123,902.64. Motion's made by Mrs. Raymond.
Raymond?
Yeah.
What you doing? You had me confused. So any questions on that? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The next item is a prime contract change order number 12, and this is for the 6 additional bleachers that were approved during the last meeting by this committee. So this PCO has already been approved. So this prime contract change order number 12 is for a total value of $87,800 $655.73.
So remember, the PCCOs are just the formality of putting it on the contract. The actual spending PCOs have already been approved. And the amount of this is $87,655.73. Do I have a motion to approve PCCO number 12? Alderman Wiltshire. Any question? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, moving on to Franklin Street, I think. Yep. Yes. Okay, the first PCO, potential change order we have in front of us is PCO number 26. This was to expand the fire stop allowance that we had put in place. So we have to, with the existing building, we are fire stopping and protecting penetrations through fire-rated walls throughout the building, even existing penetrations more than obviously was anticipated. So we, because of the sequence of how we're doing the work, we had done a PCO for a smaller amount when we were on the second floor. We are now with going and starting in the basement. We realized we're going to do this through the rest of the building. So this is a bigger PCO for the $30,000 amount, but we needed to get it signed because we'd moved to the basement and needed to continue and processing with the funds. So this PCO number 26 is for $32,020.50.
So again, this is driven by the city planning, and was also fire too, or just?
Fire.
Yeah. So it's presumably to keep smoke or anything from going through the walls and around the pipes. So you have, the new code is you have to seal them, so not much of a choice there. So again, this is has been signed by me, so unless there's an objection, we'll approve PCO number 26. Okay. Kathy?
Thank you. PCO number 27 is for proposal request number 10, which changed the roof edge detail. This, we had reviewed the insulation that is, we do a full roof replacement this coming summer. There is tapered insulation under that roof. The existing roof structure has a little bit of a slope to it, so we've gone back and forth with the amount of taper. We also changed the metal detail on the edge. That's what is comprised in this proposal request. The net changes are a credit of $4,100. So this is PCO 27 for roof edge detail for a credit of $4,100.
So this one I haven't signed. I have a motion to approve PCO number 27 for a savings of $4,100.
Thank you.
Oh, I'll make that motion.
Raymond, any questions?
I'm on the spot for getting the money back. I like it.
Okay. All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
We didn't need to sign it because the roof isn't happening till the summer. So we are trying to be mindful of the timing of these things.
No.
Okay, PCO number 28 in front of us is basically to remove wallpaper from an office in that basement level. So it was an existing condition that was not accounted for, so we had to remove the wallpaper. It was peeling, it wasn't looking like something that should have stayed or could have been covered up. So we took it down and needed to prep the wall to receive paint. So this was sort of an unforeseen condition, and it needed to be done through the process of our construction activities. So we asked for this one to get signed as well. So this is PCO 28 for wallpaper removal in the amount of $2,177.39.
So due to the timing, I have approved PCO number 28 so they can get the work done when they needed to get it done. And if there are no objections, we'll approve PCO number 28 with my signature. Kathy?
Okay. PCO number 29 is to replace the fence gate on the Locust Street side of the school. So this is related to the fire department request for the egress from the new stair towers that come out. So there's two pieces. We will also have a PCO that's not signed for adding a sidewalk to get a permanent sidewalk that comes out of the egress fenced-in area. But this is, once you get out into the playground side, getting out onto Locust Street, we need to change the gate that's already there that does not have panic hardware on it. So the request is for panic hardware, but we can't put it on the gate that's existing, so we have to replace the gate. And that's because of how the hardware works on a regular, they call it a fork latch, when you have your post that has like a fork that comes down. The gaps are too wide in it. So when you put a panic device on it, you don't want someone to be able to stick their hand through and just open it. So there's some reasons why the gate has to change. That was the most efficient way to do it. So this PCO is to replace the gate. Again, I asked for it to be ordered, signed, so that we could get it ordered. It hasn't been replaced yet, but it is on order, and it was a fire department request, so we'd like to get it in as soon as we can. PCO 29's value is $3,709.04.
So again, in order to us to get it ordered and improved, so the fire department would allow us to use the school, I signed PCO number 29. If there are no objections, we'll take the action to approve this based on my signature. Questions? By the way, the sidewalk's not being done this spring because it's less expensive to do it in the spring. Trying to fight snowstorms to do a sidewalk. No. Anyway, good.
Okay, PCO number 30 is to upgrade the fire alarm panel. So the fire alarm system is fully functional as installed. Everything is working fine in there. We have done the renovations on the second floor and the basement floor, as I said, but as we change the wall layouts on first and third and continue with the project, the existing fire alarm panel doesn't have enough spaces in it, basically, for some added devices. So it's effectively too small and it can't be expanded, so we have to replace the panel. So this PCO is to replace the fire alarm panel that's there. It needs to be done and get ordered and installed. We're going to try to switch it out over February vacation, and then we'll have it available to us to finish the first floor. So we need it to finish the first floor, otherwise I don't have enough spots in the panel. So again, that's why we asked for this one to get signed so we could release the material with that schedule in mind. So PCO 30 is for a value of $9,242.19.
So again, in order to get this ordered, I signed the PCO number 30, and if there are no objections, we'll approve PCO number 30 with my signature in the amount of $9,242.19. Again, many of these things are driven by the fire department. We have no say, and they give the certificate of occupancy. So if there are no objections, we'll approve that. Okay?
Next one, PCO number 31, is for proposal request number 12. We're adding a door to that sewage ejector pump room. We replaced the sewage ejector pumps in the same location, but the control panel doesn't fit in that old room. You access that pump room through a conference room, and there was sort of a dead-end corner in it, so we're able to, thankfully, put the control panel outside of the pump room, effectively in the corner of the conference room, but add a door, so we're basically making that pump room larger. So it's basically to accommodate the new equipment, and again, we wanted to get that done and installed as we completed the basement, so I requested this one get signed for schedule purposes. So this is PCO number 31 to basically add a pump room door in the amount of $2,288.40.
So again, signed, and without objection, we'll approve this on my signature. The other thing is the door itself was actually given, we found that the school district had a door. So this is only the cost of installation, correct?
Yes, correct.
No cost for the door. Hanging around somewhere. Okay.
We have a ground storage unit full of doors and frames.
Yeah. So, no objection, PCO number 31 is approved. Kathy?
Okay, PCO number 32 has not yet been signed. It's for $0. It's a net $0 change.
Who's going to jump on that one?
So the reason for this one is we're asking to shift the escalation funds. We're reallocating $100,000 of that to cover Harvey's supervision time, and the reason is for the schedule change, as I mentioned. So originally we were going to be on site 2 summers and be gone in the middle, and instead we're there in the middle. So it's extra months of supervision that we know we're going to kind of overrun the original budget based on how we've resequenced the schedule. So the project can cover it if we're shifting some money around. So we're fortunate to have a lot of escalation funds that we haven't had to use. So we're requesting that the escalation allowance be reduced and then money moved to the supervision line item in our budget. So it's a $100,000 move, a net zero.
So again, this is PCO number 32, and it's just moving money from one line item to the other. And this is a formality on doing it under the PCO, and its amount was $0.
Okay, fine, I'll make a motion.
Mrs. Raymond, any questions? None? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, and this PCO number 33 is for the added sidewalk I had mentioned earlier. This is outside of the egress stair tower on the playground side, adding a piece of sidewalk. As Rick had already mentioned, the cost to do it in the winter was at least $3,000 more. So we are hoping to do it around April break, or when the weather is definitely warmer and there's no snow on the ground. So the fire department has not objected. They see us making progress with all of these things, whether it be fire stopping or getting the gate ordered, and they've done their inspections, as I mentioned this morning. So it's not been an issue. We'll get the sidewalk taken care of in the spring. This PCO is for $6,350.74.
Discussions with the fire department about saving that kind of money. So this is PCO number 33 for the added sidewalk required by the fire department, and the amount of $6,350.74. Somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Leo? Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. And then my last item is the prime contract change order number 8, which simply incorporates 2 approved PCOs for the fire stopping, so I could get that contract going and allow the contractor to bill for the work done in place. So this is PCCO number 8 in the amount of $42,694.
Okay, so again, PCCO is for PCOs that have already been approved. This is in the amount of $42,694. If I have a motion to approve PCCO number 8. So moved by Alderman Wiltshire. Any questions? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
If I could just add, we have, as Ken had mentioned, as we evaluate our budget and give back where we can, we will be putting forward another PCO for a credit of $200,000 from the escalation funds, because we're not using it for escalation. We haven't had that issue, so we'd like to see it returned to the project budget so that you can, use the funds for other desired components. So just next month, there'll be a big credit.
This is when Mr. Smith and I shake the piggy bank and make sure that the money's in the right place.
Keeps Mr. Roulette employed as well.
Okay. Anything else, Kathy?
No, I'm good. All set.
All right. Oh, we're ready for invoices?
Yes, invoices, I'll just read from the agenda. First one's Greenlight Interactive. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Amount of $2,500. They designed the graphics for the rolling doors at the cafeteria for the McCarthy Middle School. Again, $2,500. We had 4 invoices from Harriman for work at McCarthy Middle School, Pennachuck, Birch Hill, and Maine Dunstable, totaling $138,275.56. 4 invoices from Harvey for work at Fairgrounds, Pennachuck, McCarthy Middle Schools, and Franklin Street, totaling $3,211,823.02. Donate the 2 cents. 2 invoices from Hayner Swanson, both for work at McCarthy Middle School, and she didn't total this for me. Looks like $2,345. No. So that's
Did I read?
2345 if I did it.
With mine.
Okay, next invoices are from Hertz Furniture, formerly School Furnishings, for furnishings at Pennachuck and Fairgrounds Middle School, totaling $12,216.14. Two invoices from John Turner Consulting, they're our testing agency, for work at McCarthy Middle School for $12,060. Two invoices from the Turner Group, which is a different organization. They're doing our commissioning at Pennachuck and McCarthy Middle School. They are also our architect for the security vestibule project. And didn't total those for me either. So the two invoices for the commissioning total $9,244.56, and the security vestibule project is $7,923.
That totals 17167.56.
Say that again.
It's already written down.
Say it again.
Could you repeat that, please?
$17,167.56.
Okay, thank you. One invoice from Vanessa Associates, doesn't say here, but that's for the work at the intersection at Pennachuck Middle School for $474.90. And we did receive 3 credits back to our accounts from utility companies. One from Liberty Utilities for Pennachuck, $4,144.20. One from Eversource for Pennachuck for $28,968.22. And another one from Eversource for Franklin Street, $9,492.12. So we get those rebates when the utility companies look at our installations. If we're installing energy efficient boilers, for example, we get credits for that. LED lighting, we get credits for that. Generally, Liberty Utilities looks at anything that expends gas. And of course, Eversource looks at things that expend electricity. So that's good money back into our coffers. So if you total everything I just talked about, Franklin Street, it comes to $164,472.97. For the middle school project, $3,285,770.59. For Birch Hill, Main Dunstable, $103,168.59. And for the security vestibule project, $7,923 even. All that totals $3,561,335.15.
Yeah, are we sure that the ones she didn't tally are in those numbers? Should be. Okay.
Hayner Swanson, you got 2345 also.
I did that one in my head. Good job. The rest of them I did old school with carryovers and such.
Long division. Long addition.
All right.
I know.
To make this easy, like a motion to approve the invoices in the following order. Franklin Street invoices, $164,472.97. The middle school project invoices for $3,285,770.59. And the Birch Hill Main Dunstable invoices for $103,168.59. And for the new security vestibule project invoices, $7,923. For total invoices to approve this evening of $3,561,335.15. Alderman Timmons made the motion. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Comments by committee members? Yes, Alderman Sullivan.
Thank you. I didn't say this before, but I just wanted to say that I've received 0.0 complaints from what used to be my ward is now Ward 5, but people still think it's Ward 9, so they talk to me. Anyway, no complaints, so thank you. All is well. Now I know when I get back, I'll have an inbox full of complaints, but knock on wood, but thank you.
They've got my cell phone now.
Oh, perfect.
We did have one person that thought they had a crack in the garage, but it was the separation between two layers of cement that we solved. And anyway, anything to do with the blasting goes back to the blasting company, not us. So, okay, any other comments from committee members? We don't need any.
Ms. Gilio has something.
Hi.
Julio.
I just want to thank everyone. Like, it's so gratifying to watch this work progress month to month. And I know with 100 people going to the site every day, there's people working all over the city, and it's really gratifying to see everything moving forward. And thank you.
No? Well, with all these projects now, Mr. Smith and I spent a lot of time in meetings. Seems like even more coming up, so there's a lot going on, including the new security vestibules, which are just getting underway. And that work will be done this summer, hopefully. And Main Dunstable Birch Hill are moving along quickly. Now they have sort of time constraints on the ESSER funds being spent in 2 years, but we're told now that the state is telling us that if the project started, they're not going to make you stop it if you haven't invoiced them already. But last night, no, Tuesday night, the Board of Aldermen approved the documentation that says that we will keep Birch Hill and Main Dunstable open for 50 years. I know that sounds like a long time, but all of our schools are, Elm Street's 88 years, 89 years old, so it's not a problem. And that legislation is signed by the mayor and should be on its way to Concord shortly. So that project's underway. So many projects going on. Make sure we cover everything. Anything else, Sean?
Maybe just an FYI, so we take advantage of all the grants we possibly can. There's a new Department of Energy Infrastructure grant that's targeting energy efficiencies. So working with Pamela Davies, and she's half Board of Ed, half city, and EEI actually put together working on the assessments. So we're putting in for really 2 grants. One's for Lead Street and Fairgrounds Elementary Schools, and the other one's for Dr. Crisp. One of the big criteria for that is inner city schools, disadvantaged, Title I, whoever, yes, those sorts of schools. So that gets lots of points for this program. So that's why those schools were selected. Certainly, we just addressed Lead Street and Fairgrounds a decade ago, but there's still a lot more things we can do. We can do roof replacements, we can put solar panels on top, that sort of thing. So that's why. So that's just a grant. I mean, it's us and every other school district in the nation probably, vying for them. So who knows how it's going to work? But we feel good about what we put in. It's a 95% grant, meaning the city would have to come up with the other 5%. But some people, somebody I spent a lot of time with tells me that shouldn't be a problem.
I just want to ask a follow-up to
What?
I just want to ask a question related to that. Are EV charging stations do you know if they're included in this new DOE thing?
No, not at this point. We wrestled with that ourselves, whether or not we want to put those on school property or not. My security guy is kind of opposed to doing it.
Why?
Random people coming and
Just hold on, I won't tell you where I'm subbing at a school down in Massachusetts, of course. They have them all over the place. But they have, I think, 4 stations on the property at the high school. I don't understand the security argument at all, that's all.
At their high school?
Yeah, in Massachusetts, yeah. I'll just tell you, it's Chelmsford. 4.
Some ambiguous school called Chelmsford.
Which, as you know, has a McCarthy Middle School, but that's where you worked.
So, we could talk I don't think we have a firm stand on it, just to date, we've decided not to, just, we don't want additional people on campus that don't need to be there. I don't know about if anybody can use these stations that goes to the high schools, if John Q. Public can decide to pull up and plug in, or. I don't know how that works.
I've never registered my car there, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, but you teach there. So, right, you said you teach there yourself?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just talking about anybody, if Matt Poskett decides to go down and plug in his car, is that allowed? Or does it have to be somebody that's associated with the school?
No, there's a sign that just says something about the town of Chelmsford, blah, blah, blah. I really think anybody could park there. I was just thinking at the new school, given its proximity to the neighbors, maybe it would be a nice gesture. I imagine there's a few of those plug-in Teslas.
Well, first of all, there aren't many, if any, electric vehicles in the city, at least not in the divisions. There may be some in City Hall, but the Board of Public Works new building at the landfill will have 5 charging stations. And right at the moment, they have no vehicles. They will, because there's a push to get more electric vehicles in the city. So the animal control, you on finance? Who's on finance?
I am.
Did that get approved for electric or gas? So it's a difference for electric of about $5,000. But if they do it, and they believe that the savings over time will make up that $5,000. But I just talked to Director Photo today. If it's a city vehicle and you want to charge it, and the charging stations won't be in the spring. So, but they'll have 5 of them, and they don't have any electric vehicles yet. But the next time they replace a car or a truck, it will be. And we had numerous elongated discussions about, how do you authorize people to use it or charge and all that stuff. Believe me, it was enough to give you a headache. And that hasn't been figured out yet, but that decision's going to Doria Brown. Yes.
So I asked the question because I thought from my reading that there were incentives, that the federal government is offering incentives to cities and towns. And I imagine incentive, maybe not 95%, but you're not aware of any of the financial benefits.
Let me ask you another question. You're on what's that new committee? Electric aggregation committee.
Oh, yeah.
Some of those decisions will be made at that level. So it's a little premature. Whether it's very easy to add them later at the McCarthy Middle School if we decide to go that way. But there's the security versus they may be able to get them charged somewhere other than actual school site. But anyway, that's yet to be decided.
I'm glad it's sparking this kind of conversation, though.
Do you plug in your credit card or something when you plug in your car, or?
No, you just it's actually a phone app. So you pull up and you have it's connected to my credit card.
So you pay for your, whatever juice you pull out of the.
It's supposed to be free for the first hour down there. I also work in Acton.
Busy guy.
Oh, I thought.
Another unnamed.
Well, I thought I retired, but that's not what I'm hearing at home. So
I think in the city they're going to use badges.
I was just going to, in Acton, it's, I've seen at the library, there are 4, I've seen 4 town vehicles that are partially electric, and then, but there are, sometimes the town vehicles are there, but usually there's a couple free. Those are, I think, $2 an hour, which is a lot more than gas, so I don't know why I do it. But that's my problem, so. But there seems like there's a partnership. I know that's not a school, but I thought it was interesting that
When I win the Powerball Saturday night, I'm going to buy a Tesla.
For everybody? Okay, so,
Motion to adjourn.
I mentioned it before,
Oh,
that
sorry.
the legislation was passed to allow us to,
You're not on
was, the legislation was passed Tuesday night to allow us, I think I said it before, to, bill the state for the Maine Dunstable Birch Hill ESSER funds.
Good.
So, all right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
There's a motion on the floor to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I didn't know.
We're adjourned at 8:28.